We got our draft for today, Jake. And the theme of our draft today, the topic is funniest Scrubs moments.
That's right. One of our, I think collectively, maybe our favorite show that we both watched. It's maybe my favorite show of all time. It's the show that I rewatched the most for sure. And I will say, even if you're not a Scrubs fan, stick around. I think you're going to find some funny stuff in this draft. And these drafts are going to be all over the place, man. They're going to be funny, weird stuff. How would we want to decide who's going first, Zach?
I'll let you go first for this first one. Then maybe next week I'll go first, whatever it is.
All right.
We can switch off.
I have got to tell you, I feel confident about this draft, okay? Also, how do you feel? I know we talked about having it be 3. I feel confident about a 5-pick draft immediately.
I'm cool with 5. And, I agree. Scrubs is my favorite show of all time. Definitely the most meaningful show. And one of the best parts about Scrubs is there's a lot, like it takes you on a roller coaster. One scene flips on a dime where you could be crying, be sad, and then it's funny. So we didn't do top Scrubs moments because we didn't want our first show to be a downer. So we only picked funny stuff.
And I think when you say Scrubs moments, I don't think you go to the funny stuff because those aren't like the most significant, like parts of the show. So I thought this was almost more fun to like think of the random stuff. So starting out, I think I'm going to take a defensive strategy.
Okay.
Do I try and – because I've got this isn't like my number 1 overall pick, but it's the one I'm afraid of you having.
Don't know what I could do with it. The power.
Yeah, the power. So I'm going to go with a Cox one right out of the gate. Dr. Cox, one of my favorite ones. So we are going to go with Dr. Cox, notable like ball buster, big like what the hell you doing guy. I'm going to go with the episode where he gathers everyone around and he goes, I like to get on everyone's gears, but someone here is worthy of special praise. Someone went the extra mile and caught this test. And we are not leaving here until that someone raises their hand to be recognized by the room. And then Dr. Cox slowly raises his own hand in the background. And he goes, it was me. I did it. I'm the biggest brain in the whole world. And then he has everyone chant his name before he would leave the room. It's the best. It's so good. And as they're chanting his name, he's going, me.
Yeah.
It's so good. So that is my favorite Cox moment. So I had just the scene of him sneakily raising up his own hand and being surprised by it makes me laugh every time. So that has to be my number 1 pick.
That's very good. Dr. Cox is, I think we talked about this, my favorite character, I think, of all television. So good defensive strategy. I will do the same then, Jake.
Shit.
So I will take one, not my top moment, but one that I know I've quoted a lot in my life. I've quoted with you.
Yeah.
And that has to be Slegathor.
Oh, that was the other one. Oh, Debbie, Slegathor. Oh.
Yeah. So Chief of Medicine, Dr. Kelso's with either the interns or with, a younger group of doctors. And he says, like, I'm going to go back to my office if you need me. In order to save time, I'm going to call all the men Daves and all the women Debbies. And then one doctor raises her hand. She's like, oh, Debbie's my actual name. And he says, then in fairness to everyone else, you will be Slegathor. Dave's, Debbie's, Slegathor, I'll be in my office. It's so good. It's so random.
So good. We'll do snake draft, Zach. You can have another one.
Oh, okay. I do have some clips here to help make some of the scenes. So this one, okay. I'm going to go with this. I think this is one of my favorite Scrubs scenes of all time. I think it just encapsulates everything. Lots of good moments in it. So 1 second here. Okay, here we go. And I think it speaks for itself.
Oh, yeah. My name is Bob Kelso, and I like whores. Now, why don't I introduce myself like that? Because there is a time and a place for the truth. Now, you take Dorian's intern, Brendan, for example. He told his patient that it was the first time he was performing a spinal tap. And what did the patient do, doctor?
She started to hyperventilate, and then she reached for a hit of what she thought was an oxygen tank. It turned out to be a helium container from pediatrics. Then she screamed, "I'll kill you, bitches!" Which, frankly, we all thought was hilarious.
Oh, indeed it was. But you know what wasn't? When she ran for the door, tripped and fell and broke her femur. Now she's suing the hospital. And since Ted is our lawyer, what's going to happen?
Girlfriend's gonna get paid.
It's true, Mr. Keck. You could probably get.
Yes. So the girlfriend's gonna get paid. Starts off with I'm Dr. Kelso and I like horse. It just has so many good moments in one scene. I think it's like season 6 or 7. I think it's later on, but it's so good.
There's a time and place for the truth. It's such a good line. I will say, so my favorite character in the show, maybe all of media, is Dr. Kelso.
He's so good.
And I will say, I think season 6 or 7 is prime Dr. Kelso territory.
Yeah.
He's retired. Okay, since I have 2 in a row, I'm going to go with a meat and potato pick to like lock up one that I think is going to probably be on both of our boards and is like going to, give me some sweet love with the fans. So I'm going to go with Turk overthinking why the Todd is considered the best surgical intern. And he goes, well, I don't know why Dr. Wen thinks I overthink just because I want an extra set of clamp. And then they pan over to the Todd's brain and he's just going, da, 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 shiny scalpel, da, 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 gonna slice him up. It's the best. It's such a good transition. Oh, it's my favorite Todd moment in the whole show. And it's so good. I think it's a classic. I've seen that clip a million times.
And it gets made funnier knowing after the fact that the entire episode's budget was spent on getting the Bonanza rights to do that joke. And it's 2 seconds of the whole thing,
That's true. Oh, okay. And then this next one, I'm so glad you didn't take because it's probably the one I quote the most besides Slagathor. So it would have hurt me if you got this one too. It is a Turk line, and it's Carla and Turk talking about their kid, and Carla's trying to tell Turk it'll be okay of like, well, what if we have a daughter? And he laughs. And then he says, well, what if our son, doesn't want to play football? What if he wants to dance? And then Turk, of course, replies, he can dance if he wants to. He can leave his friends behind because his friends don't dance. And if they don't dance, then they're no friends of mine. And then Safety Dance starts playing in the background and it just cuts to another scene of Carla being like, and then he just safety danced out of frame.
It's so funny, man.
So good. He can dance if he wants to. Just slowly going into the song is so great. All right. Those are my top 3.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to go with another like overall scene. And there's a good punchline in it. Again, it's hilarious. But let's go with this here.
I'm the smartest, most skilled surgeon in this place.
Are you stuck in that candy machine?
I pay for my Rolos and get my Rolos.
Nice. Why aren't you mocking him?
Dropped a quarter in here.
Guys, listen, we really need to help Elliot.
Baby, she said she doesn't want to be helped.
If JD were drowning and he told you he didn't want you to save him, wouldn't you do it?
That depends. What if they're hot chicks at the pool? Maybe he wants one of them to jump in and save him.
Let's say there's no women.
There's always women at the pool, baby.
Fine, he's in a pond.
Oh, I would never swim in a pond. They're infamous for serpents.
You could swim at the Y on Tuesdays, men only.
Have you been to the Y on Man Night? Not me.
No, fine. Turk's the one who's drowning.
Oh, so now brother can't swim.
Why do you have to go there?
Oh my God. I would rather play jiggly ball than try to explain this to you 2 idiots.
She's the idiot. We're doctors.
So good.
So obviously it's the Jiggly Ball episode, but it's just constantly like, now a brother can't swim. It's so good.
That is so good. We're doctors. As they're holding their fists in frame. It's very good. All right, what else you got, Zach?
And then I'm gonna go with a classic, probably the most popular Scrub scene of all time would be my guess. And it's one of the musical ones, and there's gonna be two on
Ooh,
drafted for sure. The one I'm gonna go with is Guy Love.
I knew it. I knew that's what
Yeah.
you were going for.
Yeah, obviously there's two classic ones, but JD and Turk singing about their love for each other. JD talking about Turk is only going to be the only guy ever inside of him, but it's because he gave him an appendectomy. Just a classic scene. Go listen to it. That's one that we will for sure get copyright claimed for, so I will not be showing it. But Guy Love is absolutely classic. Go listen to it. Jake, what's your next two?
Okay, my last two picks, Zach. Oh man, so I'm definitely going to Kelso one because he's my fave, and I don't have him yet. So all right, I'm gonna go with this one. Maybe I'll give the other one as an honorable mention afterwards. But for the one with it's a scene, so I'm gonna explain the whole thing. Should have sent you clips, but it is Dr. Kelso explaining to the scene starts with him being like, okay, we have had too many complaints, and it's because our doctors aren't communicating with our patients enough. Which, for the case of Dr. Doug Murphy, may be a benefit, but to the rest of you, you need to talk to your patients. And Doug goes, sir, if I may just have a second to explain my alarmingly high death rates. And then Dr. Kelso immediately goes, let me do that for you, son. You're a bad doctor. And then he continues on his tirade, which concludes with him pointing out that even though Dr. Cox is telling them to do the opposite, that he'll always disagree with them. So he goes, Cox, wonderful weather we're having, freezing, but the coffee is good, rat piss. Isn't Dr. Murphy the worst? I think Dr. Murphy is one of the best young physicians we've ever had in this hospital. And then Dr. Kelso leaves, and then Murphy calls his dad.
Yeah.
To tell him about the nice things said. So from start to finish, it's so good. But I just laugh every time at. Let me do that for you, son. You're a bad doctor.
That is, I think Dr. Kelso's like super like side comments, really quick ones are always the best.
Always the best. So that was the one I picked for that, and then I had to have a janitor one in the top 5.
Yeah.
And which means I didn't pick any from the musical episode, which makes me a little bummed. But I'm gonna go with instead the episode where the janitor reveals that he's been reading out of JD's diary, which he keeps in his locker. So it's like, well, because it's early on, because JD doesn't know his name, and he's like, "How are you today, John Michael Dorian?" And he's like, what's your name? And then hides his name tag. And he's like, okay, so you looked up my personnel file. And he's like, you had your first kiss at the embarrassing age of 16 with Debbie from 2 doors down. And JD goes, how in the world could you possibly do that? And this, I don't know why this makes me laugh so much every time, but the janitor goes, I'm your father. And then just holds out his arms for a hug as JD walks into the elevator. It's so good the way Neil Flynn deadpans that every time. I'm your father. Bring it in for the hug. So that's my top 5, I think.
I think you have one more.
Do I?
Yeah, because
Okay.
I've only picked 4.
Well, then, boom. I feel even better now. Maybe I will pick one from the musical. Who knows?
Unless maybe I'm bad at math.
No, I'll take another one.
Okay, go for it.
No. That's you go and then I'll go last. You're right. That works out.
It's a snake draft. You go 2 in a row.
I just did go 2 in a row, didn't I? Yeah, I did the
I
Doug
don't know.
one and I did the janitor one.
Oh yeah, okay. You're done. It's over, Jake. Okay, I have one more. Quit fighting me on this. I have to choose between 2, and they're both moments with Turk. it does hurt me to not have a janitor one. The janitor one I'm leaving off was that his wife, supposedly wife, sewed JD shorts, and she only has pointer and thumb pinky, and then he mimes it out. But I will leave that one off. Instead, I will do man. Okay, so JD or Turk asks JD to be his best man, and it's this scene right here. Yeah, I think this is the one I'm going to go with.
Will you be my best man? Huh?
I mean, yeah, of course.
Hell yeah, you will.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So is this like the best moment you guys have ever had?
A decoder ring. Turk! What? It finally happened.
A double prizer?
Yeah!
That was awesome.
You guys realize you're doctors, right?
Double secret decoder ring wearing doctors. Activate! Form of an ice menorah.
Okay, it was gonna play guy left. That I was choosing between that one and when Turk slams Carla's arm in arm wrestling, and he says, "Do you see what you get, Carla? Do you see what you get when you mess with the warrior?" Which is also a classic quote.
Oh, that's so good. Just off my list was Everything Comes Down to Pooh, which is, I think, the funniest one besides Guy Love, probably from the musical episode.
Yeah.
And then also on my list, let's see, other honorable mentions go to, this was my other Kelso one. JD comes in. Guys, I just won free muffins for a year. No, you didn't. They did the count over again. You lost by one. Who won instead? Kelso comes in, apron stuffed with muffins. Do you know the Muffin Man, the Muffin Man, the Muffin Man? And then later in the episode, he orders a chocolate chip muffin and then throws it away immediately.
Yeah.
Just goes, because I can. And then leaves again. So good. Also on there, let's see. I really thought you were going to, so I didn't even look at it, but I'm okay without it, is The Poison Dance by Turk.
I like it. I don't think it's that funny, but
Yeah,
I really
I
like
thought the same thing. Another one, but I thought it was too abstract, but it is so funny, is when Turk and JD are mad at each other, but slowly make up over singing the Sanford and Son theme song together.
Yeah. That was like middle school me. Me and shout out to Brandon Dieter. We would do that all the time.
And the only other one that's on my list, super quick line, but it's one of my favorite small lines in the whole show, is, and I think it's in one of the Brendan Fraser episodes. It's a big episode. Yeah, Cox goes in to apologize to JD, and he's wearing his shower shorts. JD goes, shower shorts for the man who has nothing to hide, but still wants to.
I also I wanted to get a Ted moment. Like, I love Ted too. He might be one of my favorite characters, obviously.
Yeah.
Sam Lloyd is a legend. One quote, and it's hard to do it out of context, and also anything he does, but something we used to quote all the time. It was like watermelon day or something in the lunchroom, and Turk made JD mad, so he shot a watermelon seed at him. And Ted was walking with his lunch, and it shot a hole through his milk carton. And he's like, "Oh, my new shirt. Oh, my chicken." And he cut milk all over it. It's, yeah, definitely.
That's the same episode I thought about his pen exploding.
Yeah.
And going, "Aw, aw." That's really good. His boing flip with Kelso is also really good. So many good ones, man. I thought about getting JD's brother on there because he's got some good lines.
Yeah, really good lines. Taking JD's lunch or whatever.
Yeah.
Hooch is crazy is a classic one.
Hooch is crazy is good. Eagle, but it's just a random yell. From the Brandon Fraser second episode, Brandon Fraser has a line of hey, I met somebody to Dr. Cox, like when they're trying to figure out like what to talk is like, really? Where? Who? And he's like, tall redhead came in, asked for a stool sample. I think she's into me. And Cox goes, definitely doesn't work here. Never seen her before. And so just a really dumb, but I don't know why it really cracked me up. Oh, and in that one, gosh, now I'm just saying random Scrubs ones, but I do think this line is worth an honorable mention. In that episode, Cox tells JD he's scared to talk to Brendan Fraser, and then JD goes to his house and he's like, I know what happened today. You got scared. And Cox goes, you're right, because I told you that earlier today. Did you just come to my house to tell me something I already told you? Because that seems like a terrible idea.
That's good. My last one was JD getting paged after soaking in the bath. So Africa is playing. He's riding his scooter Sasha after a rain, and he's about to go through a splash in a puddle, and it ends up being an underground canal system under the hospital. And then he goes to the janitor once he gets there. He's like, have you ever heard of an underground canal system here? I saw a manatee. And then janitor's like, was his name Julian? And JD said, we didn't exchange pleasantries. He's like, that's Julian. Just such a random side comment.
That is really good. Janitor's got another really quick one in the musical episode where Doug is saying the best is to come yet, and then he wipes out, and then Janitor comes in far too late and goes, careful, the floor is very wet.
Yeah.
And puts the sign down on top of Doug. So good, dude. Scrubs one was a good one to start with. I love those top fives, baby. Good draft. Good draft.
Good draft for the Scrubs fans possibly watching this. Let us know what moments we didn't draft that you would have included in your top five, or just what your top five is in general.